people who survived to this next age of the Earth have all kinds of supernatural powers that they've gained through the radiation. They can cast spells or control things with their minds, or they have machines that have allowed them to survive, like microscopic machines that help them cope with the radiation. And there's a large number of people in the world who have succumbed to a disease based off of the radiation. And because of that, there's sort of this horde of monsters who are basically like zombies, like you'd expect from Dawn of the Dead, or basically any sort of zombie movie. And so those are the main bad guys for the game. So the characters are trying to survive in those sort of inhospitable conditions. And so people who play, everyone gets to take a chance to basically play out as their own hero. They get to be the hero of their own adventure, of their own story. There are sort of factions of people with similar abilities, and you can pick which of those hero classes you want to play. The first one, they're called the Paragons, and the idea is that they are sort of a byproduct of almost this survival of the fittest, almost like a eugenics experiment. Like, 90% of the world's population was wiped out in the nuclear cataclysm, so the remaining 10% must either be physically stronger or smarter, or, something would have, set them apart in order to be able to survive these sort of Holocaust-like situations. And they had kids, and they've had kids, and so you have this sort of only the strongest have survived, and so that's sort of the lineage of humankind, are the Paragons. Another group, which we call the Nephilim, they are, Nephilim is sort of a biblical term, and it was referenced in Genesis as sort of half angel, half human. Like angels came down and did their business with people. But anyway, the Nephilim, the idea is that they're actually immune to the radiation. So everyone is affected by this poison except for the people who are considered the Nephilim, and so that's almost like the sort of angel side of them. And so they're really sort of powerful members of that new world. But you can trust a Nephilim, because Nephilim will never succumb to the radiation. So that's a very cool class. And then the other three, which are actually the oldest of, which are the Magi, the Host, and the Pariah. The Magi are, well, their backstory has changed 100 times since the very beginning of the game. Like I said earlier, they used to be like Merlin, whenever wands and no weapons. The backstory for them now is that they have existed since ancient Egypt, and they have the power, sort of the language of God. Like, they have the ability to say something and have it sort of actualize. And so it looks like a spell. So in some ways it kind of feels like Merlin, because they can basically summon a fireball, but it's because they can sort of bend reality to their will, and it's because they've sort of divined in the secrets of the universe. The Host are probably the most unique class in God's 10%. The Host are essentially the byproduct of the cure for the sickness. They inject these super intelligent nanobots that essentially go through your body and produce a full biological profile, and then start to repair the parts of your body that have deteriorated because of the sickness. But not only that, the sickness is also psychological. And so that's what it drives you mad. And so the nanites essentially will go into your brain, and while your brain is recovering, the nanites sort of hijack your brain function. And so it's almost like these machines, these sentient machines, are controlling your actions. And so you have this class of people. They're almost like the Borg in Star Trek. The Hosts have a collective unconsciousness, because the Hosts don't necessarily all talk to each other. They do have the ability, but the nanites all do. So it's almost like if the nanites go into your body and sort of control your actions, you're almost like a microprocessor for the giant computer that is the nanites. Basically, though, the Host in a nutshell would be sort of a hybrid between man and machine. the host have to deal with this, the nanites give me the power to not be affected by the sickness. But the more radiation your body gets, the more the nanites have to hijack more of your body functions and your brain functions to keep you functioning. So basically, instead of losing yourself to the sickness, you're losing yourself to the machines that are inside you. And so you have this sort of, where does the man end and the machine begin? So it has this sort of like, Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger, like, oh, he has feelings. This sort of battle back and forth. In short, the Pariah are X-Men. They have superpowers, and each one also has a weakness. The idea is that certain humans, sort of trapped in their DNA, trapped in their DNA is sort of these special powers. Maybe we all have them, who knows? But the radiation sort of acted as a catalyst to sort of recode the DNA or sort of awaken those abilities. And so someone one morning might just be a regular Joe sitting at his table eating Cheerios, and then the next day can summon fire out of their hands. You can have alliances, you have people helping each other out, but at the same time, no one can really trust each other because everyone is affected by the sickness, which is that disease that can make you sort of into a raving lunatic who forgets about their family and just sort of kills everything they can get their hands on and destroy everything that's good in the world.